They're just going to hit the switch. Ken? Okay. Ernesto, shalom. Thank you for joining us. You're the Chief Sustainability and Innovation Officer. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll start. Okay. Shalom, Ernesto. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, ciao, shalom.
Ciao. Well, it's great to have you with us, and your role as the Chief Innovability Officer at the Enel Group, I find fascinating. Now, when my colleague Yariv told me that I had the opportunity to interview you, and he said Innovability Officer, I thought that he got the English wrong. And then I understood that it's a combination of innovation and sustainability. Now, your career, I know that the career that led up to this role is super interesting. You've done many years of consulting, working in the telecommunications industry. You've taught innovation management at Italian and Spanish universities. And I think on an off-bio note, one that I thought was pretty enchanting is that you also authored 3 collections of poems, but we'll save that for another time. So what can you tell us about this combination of innovation and sustainability as a chief executive role at an energy company like Enel?
Thanks for inviting me, and hi, Wendy. We have invented this new word, innovability, because we wanted to describe a new role, the mix of innovation and sustainability. Every day, every hour, we change as a person. Every 2 hours, we change the skin of our lips. Every 24 days, we change the whole skin. And every 15 years, we change the 99% of our body cells. So, the change is mandatory, is necessary to survive. Innovation is the change. We must use innovation, but the real aim is sustainability, the survival of the company. But how can a company survive with this disruption, technological disruptions, social disruptions, environmental disruptions? How can a company survive without innovating? If we don't innovate, we die. It happens as persons, as human race. The human race will survive if it changes, as the companies must innovate if they want to survive. So innovation is a powerful tool to allow us to be sustainable, environmentally sustainable, and sustainable for the governance and the business, and on the business side. And we have applied this. 6 years ago, when I joined Enel, renewables were not sustainable if we look at their costs. But we have innovated. We have reduced more than the 60% of our total cost of ownership of renewables, and we have made them sustainable on the economic side as they are on the environmental and the social side.
Okay, so as long as you pointed a finger on your innovation strategy, I believe you have a very interesting operational model for that innovation strategy, and that you've got these very independently run innovation arms of Enel all over the world, in over 30 countries, and yet these innovation arms are integrating very closely with your business units. What can you share with us about that as a model and some of your lessons learned and the thinking behind it?
As the whole body must change, not just the lips, not just the fingers or an arm, but all the body must change. All the areas, all the functions, all the business lines of a company must change. That's why we have created a structure. According to this structure, I work directly with the CEO, and in every function, in the HR, in the finance department, in the audit, in the legal department, in every business line where we generate, distribute, and sell energy, everywhere we have Innovability people directly working with the global head of this function or this business line or this market and reporting to me. So in this way, we have embedded innovation and sustainability into the business. When we innovate, when we find a startup that could be useful for the generation of the electricity, we select this startup with the global head of Innovability in the generation. So when we implement a proof of concept and this proof of concept is successful, we don't have to hand over this startup to the business, because it's already working with the business people that are in the business department focused at generating energy, and they can scale up their technology in a fastest way, and we don't miss a lot of opportunities. And it happens in other companies where innovation is on a side, not embedded in the business. And when the innovation finds something useful, after the POC, it proposes this startup or this innovation to the business people, and they say no, because they haven't developed it. So they don't recognize this POC as something that they have done. So many projects die at the handover phase. During the handover phase, we haven't this handover phase because we started the business experimentation with the business people, and if they find it effective and useful, they scale this solution up all around the world in our business area. So it's very important to combine this embedded organization with the ability to look for the best startups. That's why we have developed innovation hubs, starting from the first one that was in Israel, in Tel Aviv, because starting with the best place all around the world where you can look for startups, that is to say Tel Aviv, we have implemented a network of innovation hubs in Boston, in Silicon Valley, in Moscow, in Spain, in Rio de Janeiro, and we have looked for startups also in areas where we haven't a physical presence, a physical innovation hub, as in Berlin, Germany, in Paris, or in London, where we look for startups with digital meetings, not being physically present as we are in Tel Aviv. And having this innovation embedded in the business areas, in the business lines, in the functions, and having the support of innovation hubs looking for startups is very crucial for our innovation, because we start from real problems, real business challenges. We look for the best startups to solve those business challenges, and after we scale them up. And this is a win-win approach with the business line and with the innovation hubs, because they work for the business lines, and the business lines engage the innovation hubs on real important challenges.
Well, it sounds like that's really part of Enel's secret sauce, what you just shared with us, in terms of a real model that other large corporates around the world might want to take a look at. I know that
many universities have studied this model, because you focus on this model. Professor Henry Chesbrough, the inventor, the father of open innovation, has written a case for that has been adopted at Harvard and Berkeley as a business case to be studied and published by hbr.org. You can find it on hbr.org. And the Professor Monteiro from INSEAD, Professor Birkishaw from London Business School, Professor Kramer from Harvard, they have written cases on us describing how we have embedded innovation and sustainability in our business, everyday business activities.
That's remarkable. Really quite a story. So I know our time is limited, and I really just want to get one more thought from you, and that really has to do with COVID. I mean, we can't have this fireside chat with you without hitting on COVID. You've got a head count of 70,000 around the world, and one day this thing called COVID hits, and every single one of your employees are told, don't come to work. Dramatic transition. So I'm curious if you can share with us, how did you pull that off to 100% remote working for such a large number of people?
In 1 week, we decided to switch to remote work the 60% of our workers because as John Fitzgerald Kennedy say, you must repair a broken window when the sun is shining. So we worked before the COVID time because we adopted the 100% cloud strategy 3 years before. We adopted smart working for everybody 1 week per week, 1 day per week, 4 years before the pandemic time. And we have built up a lot of indicators, and we adopted drones, robots, to automatize and to allow to automatize a lot of activities and to help our colleagues monitor infrastructures, plants, without any physical intervention many years before the pandemic time. So we worked before to be more innovative, to be more efficient, and to be more resilient. During the pandemic time, we could switch 60% of our people in remote working because we worked before. Unfortunately, 40% of people had to support the hospitals, the buildings, the factories, because if you cut electricity, people die in an hospital. You can have 100 doctors and just one person in emergency therapy, but unfortunately this person will die without electricity. So we had to ask the 40% of our people to provide still their work, not in an office, but where we have the networks, because the networks are fundamental to survive also for hospitals, and during pandemic time they are even more important. If startups have an idea, a proposal for us, they can join www.openinnovability.com. Our challenges are shared, are public. Everybody can have access and can get in contact with Enel because we have this digital door that is open for the startups. We love them. We are a former startup, and 10 years ago, Enel started with a small startup called Enel Green Power. Now is the largest renewable player in the world, and we are very proud of this. We are leading the energy revolution, but we need you. We need you, startuppers, your passion, your talent, your knowledge to make this energy transition more efficient and to speed it up. Thanks.
Well, Ernesto, I want to thank you for joining us. You really allowed us to peek under the hood in terms of how Enel is approaching some of these critical topics and your strategy and your thinking. So we appreciate your taking the time. I also now see why it is that you're getting along so well with Israeli entrepreneurs, because I think agility and resilience is something that we share. Thank you again. We really appreciate your taking the time to be with us.
Thanks to you, and thanks to the organizer of this event for having invited me. It's a privilege.
Great to meet you. Hope to see you in person.
Me too.
Bye-bye.
In Italy or in Israel or wherever.
Yes. Amen to that. Take care. Thanks again.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Ciao.